All right, hello, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar, Get Healthy in a Time of Crisis. Today's presenter is Wendy Farrell. For your convenience, the slide deck for today's presentation will be available on the CPSHR Consulting website. Please visit cpshr.us to download. Today's session is also being recorded, and we will go ahead and post a link to the recording on that same webinar page of our website as soon as it's available. In order to ensure a high quality recording and audio experience for everyone, all attendees are encouraged to mute your mic. If you have any questions for Wendy, please feel free to enter them in the Q&A panel on the right-hand side of your screen, and we'll address those questions at the end of the presentation as time allows. All right, so now let's get started.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to our webinar today. I'm Wendy Farrell. I work for CPSHR Consulting. I do quite a bit of leadership and employee development trainings for them. But my background, my educational background, is actually in corporate health and wellness. And I've always been passionate about bringing health and wellness to the workplace. Really, it helps morale, it helps productivity, it helps the bottom line. Especially in a time of stress and crisis. Stress happens and we are all subjected to it, and it's been amplified for us this last year. So it's even more important time to focus on wellness in the workplace and good health and wellness habits in your personal life. So that's what I wanted to focus on today. It was really hard for me to pick just 3 things to focus on. I really had to tailor down a lot of my information. So hopefully I can get it all in a half hour. So let's get started. I wanted to just chat a little bit about the science of stress and what happens to your body during times of stress. So your brain will release a hormone called cortisol, and that is a kind of a deleterious negative hormone that can affect your body in a variety of harmful ways, and including suppressing the immune system. And right now it's so important to keep our immune system strong so that we can fend off COVID if we are exposed to it, in addition to the flu and colds and every other kind of virus and health challenge that is out there. So anytime you are stressed in short-term stressors or in long-term stressors such as we're in now, your body can be releasing cortisol. So here's a graphic that shows you a lot of the harmful ways cortisol can affect your body. I bet you if you look around this circle, you will see some things that you're experiencing now, either in certain moments or in general on a long-term basis. So really important to be aware that stress happens, and stress management is really not about eliminating the stressors in your life. That's one part of the management of stress. The other part is becoming resilient to it. And when you are exposed to stressors, because life has a lot of them, from small in the minute stressors to these longer term stressors, we just need ways to help our bodies push through it and be resilient so that we don't succumb to the effects of cortisol and resulting in any number of these harmful effects to the body. So what I wanted to focus on then today is some cortisol reducing strategies. And I'm going to focus on 3 aspects of your wellness: your mind and managing those inner conversations, and trying to have a more opportunity mindset instead of an anxious, worrying mindset, immune building nutrition and healthy eating. That's a huge part of keeping your body healthy. And then actual physical decompression, not just chilling out and relaxing, but actively relaxing and decompressing your body so that it will be more resilient when the stressors enter your life. I love this graphic, or this saying: be careful how you're talking to yourself, because you are listening. And your inner conversations are such a huge part of your stress reactions and how you manage your stress. It really starts there. It starts with how you're talking to yourself about the particular stressor that's coming into your life. And it can take you down. And we're kind of hardwired to be worried and negative to protect ourselves. So you can head right down that downward spiral. If you can pay attention to those inner conversations and change how you're thinking, it's also possible then to spiral up. Really, the choice is yours. Sometimes it doesn't feel that way, but it is. So be aware that these inner conversations that you have with yourself, about yourself, and about how you feel about others and other situations can actually affect those outer conversations that you have, and therefore shape the realities that you actually experience. So negative, anxious thoughts can create negative spirals and actions, just like optimistic and open-minded thoughts can create that opportunity for upward spirals and positive action. So remember that where your brain goes, your body follows. One of the things that I like to do, I know this slide has a lot of words on it. I wanted to show you all of my questions that I've created for myself. This is one of the ways I've started to generate different inner conversations for myself and ask these generative questions that can generate new, different dialogue for my inner conversation. I ask, is it true? Is it realistic? Or am I overreacting? Big important one is to realize that we make assumptions all the time. I bet you make an assumption every minute of every day, and it's something our brain does when we don't have all the information as to what's going on. We make guesses about what is going on. So I like to check myself. Am I making an assumption about the situation? What else could be the reality? How can I find out what is the truth and the reality? Also, when I'm feeling anxious and I start to go in that downward spiral, I think about, well, what is it that I want? What do I want to see happen? What am I more hopeful for? Then I think about what actions could I take to achieve that? When I get down on myself and, have those negative conversations about something that I've done or not done, I focus on what I can learn and what I can do better and what I am good at. Try to build back up into that positive spiral. And another great question to ask yourself is, what could be good about this situation? Is there a silver lining? What opportunities are there for me? And how can I contribute in a positive, constructive way? What proactive action could I take? So these aren't just positive thoughts, ignoring the negative. These are trying to have an opportunity mindset and to change that conversation into what can I do? What action can I take? And if you are more action oriented, you're going to feel more in control. And that's one of the ways we manage stress, is to get back that feeling of control. I can make choices. I can decide what's going to happen and what's not going to happen. So I encourage you to write down one or two of these conversations or questions that can help you change those inner conversations, any one of them that actually resonate with you. And remember to ask yourself those questions during times of anxiousness and worry. So this is a great little activity to do for yourself too, to really start analyzing those inner conversations. I call it the 4 R's: recognize, record, rethink it, and then repeat it. So let's take a look at what each of those mean. Recognize means becoming aware of your internal monologue. What is going on? What are those inner conversations? In order to manage it, you have to hear it. You have to recognize it's going on. Then you are more able to change it. So that's the first step. Then write down your thoughts, record them in a journal, sometimes on the computer. I might type something out. When you see it written down, that internal monologue becomes less of an intrinsic part of you, and you can kind of see it for what it is. Sometimes when I do that, if I'm triggered or I'm angry and I blink it out and I type out on my computer what I'm thinking and I'm feeling in a Word document, never in an email in case you press send, I take a look at it and reread it. And I even say to myself, wow, Wendy, you were overreacting a little bit. I'm sure glad you didn't share that with anybody. And it starts to become more realistic to you. And then you can actually take a look at what is realistic and what isn't. So it's a really helpful tool. So the next step then is to start to reframe that conversation. And I call it an opportunity mindset, or a positive reframe. And try to focus on what you want instead of what is worrying or upsets you. And this is that Joyce Meyer quote I said earlier: where the mind goes, the person and the body follows. So be sure that your thoughts are on what you want rather than what you don't want. The more your thoughts are on what you don't want, the more likely it's going to be that you're going to make decisions and take actions that will get you there. If your mind is on what you want and the opportunities and what you can do, it's more likely you're going to make decisions and choices and actions that'll get you there. All right, so it's not easy. I'm not saying just do it. It actually takes some work and some habit reforming. So we're trying to create alternative self-talk that will lead to a more useful perspective for yourself. So here are 4 different strategies you can do to rethink and revise that inner self-talk. Change that negative to a neutral or positive. I'm sure this is something we've all been saying lately, especially as COVID has gone on, and it really wasn't that 2-week shutdown we thought it was, and maybe a few more months, and now we're on a year. And I'm sure all of us have thought at some point, this is never going to get better. So try to change that negative statement, that negative conversation, to something a little bit more neutral, maybe. This is difficult as it is, and I can be resilient. It's a little bit more hopeful, a little bit more upward spiral. This is helpful for me to use milder wording. I know in my own inner self-talk that I use the word hate a lot. Like I hate traffic, or hate this, or hate that. And that's a pretty harsh word. That's a very negative word. So I've been working very hard to make that a little bit more of a mild statement. So I hate traffic too. Traffic annoys me. And you go quite all the way into that really negative feeling of hate. Sometimes, when you're hard on yourself, you might say something like, I'm such a loser. Maybe change that to, I have much to learn. It's a little bit more mild. It's not necessarily positive, but it's a little bit more neutral. This is a really actually a fun challenge. Try to avoid absolutes. Now that I've mentioned this, start paying attention to how often you say always or never or nobody. Really, hardly anything is never or always, and I always have to check myself when I say that, because I want to say nothing is ever, never, or always, and that's contradicting what I'm trying to say. So I have to say hardly anything is never or always. Really, it rarely is. So when you're making a statement that includes those absolutes, it's most definitely not a true statement. So instead of saying nobody ever listens to me, change it to, I'd like to create conversations where I'm heard. Opposite, flip it to the positive opposite, reframe it, and then it's more action oriented. And it's probably not the case. Probably someone in your entire lifetime has actually listened to you. So if you say it like that, it really isn't a true statement. So check yourself for those true statements and at least make it truthful. And the self-limiting statements, I can't handle this, to how can I handle this? Just change them to a question. Such small changes in your word choices really start to affect how your conversations are going. So, make a point to use at least one of these bullet points that resonated with you, and try to check yourself and adjust those inner conversations. And then remember that this is a new habit that you're creating, and habits are hard. Bad habits are hard to stop. New habits are hard to integrate. So like any habit you're trying to do, it's going to require repetition. So just when you find yourself falling into a pattern of that unhelpful self-talk, whether it's about yourself or about others, try to consciously take a moment, stop, breathe, and consciously substitute, revise more realistic and accurate self-talk, and keep trying it. And it's always something you can get better and better at. And I think about it and work on it all the time. It's not like you're going to achieve it at some point. There's always going to be stressors and challenges in your life that you want to change those inner conversations about. So that's where we talk about mind management very quickly. Actually, I could probably spend the whole day talking about mind management. So here's that activity, and make a commitment to yourself that you're going to recognize a negative or judgmental thought, record it, revise it, and repeat it. And try that activity sometime today when you are in the middle of a stressful or worried thought. See how this activity works for you. All right, so the next chapter in our 30-minute webinar is all about healthy eating, which was one of my favorite topics. When I teach healthy eating cooking classes, which I do quite a bit, and nutrition classes, my first question to everyone is, what does healthy eating mean to you? The reality is that it means different things to different people. Usually I have everybody type in the chat box, and you feel free to go ahead if you'd like to. What does it mean to you? If you said to yourself, I'm going to eat healthy this week, I'm really going to focus on that, what does that look like? And the reality is there's 30 or 40 different answers for this. It could mean gluten-free, it can mean vegan or vegetarian, it can mean lean proteins, lots of vegetables, it could be low carb, low sugar, it could be dairy-free. It means so many things to different people, and it has to do with what your health goals are, your weight goals, any types of health challenges that you have. Your food really can make a difference in helping you feel better, and avoiding certain foods as well. Eat more healthy foods improves your health and wellness, and figuring out what kind of allergies and intolerances you have that are creating gluten challenges or indigestion challenges or immune suppression challenges is really important. The best source of getting these healthy vitamins and minerals to keep our bodies healthy is from whole foods. We can take supplements and vitamins, which I'll chat about here in a little bit. Best source though is to get them from your food. So in general, again, I could talk about this all day as well. There are some healthy eating strategies you can incorporate into your eating patterns to help build the immune system. That's what I'm focused on today, more so than losing weight or gaining weight or maintaining your weight. Let's focus on the immune system. So in general, healthy eating strategies involve increasing your lean proteins that don't have a lot of fat content to them. So that can be turkey, pork tenderloin, chicken. It could be lean beefs and steaks. It can also be legumes and beans and tofu and tempeh, lots of ways to get good proteins. Nuts and seeds, all kinds of chia seeds and flax seeds add protein, as well as almonds and pecans and all kinds of different nuts. So increase those lean proteins and healthy proteins. You want to reduce processed foods. It's so easy to when we don't have time to cook, to just grab foods that are already prepared, which means that they are processed quite a bit from their original whole food existence. So try to avoid those and opt for whole foods and healthier original form of your food, and cook it yourself. If you batch cook and cook a lot of something healthy, then you have a lot of that to eat all week. If you're going to cook 4 chicken breasts on the grill, cook 10 chicken breasts on the grill, and then you'll have that lean protein to easily reach for. That's the challenge. It's easy to reach for chips, and it's easy to reach for those frozen dinners and pop them in the microwave, and then you're done with dinner in 10 minutes. You probably didn't get a lot of healthy aspects from that food. It's really important also to reduce your refined sugars and carbs. I have found that that's really helped me feel a lot healthier, actually lose some weight too, is to really keep those refined sugars and carbs to a minimum. For me, it's got to be worth the carbs. It's either got to bring nutrient value to the table or really, really, really taste good and satisfy my taste buds. So I try not to eat mindless carbs. And careful of those sugary beverages. Sugary beverages are the #1 cause of obesity in our country. And we are taking in a lot of our calories and sugar from our beverages. So really try to drink a lot of water, which is one of my bullet points here. Keeping yourself hydrated and drinking a lot of water helps your body function effectively. It also helps flush away germs and bacteria and viruses and things that we are breathing in and out. Helps them flush through our system. Water is the best source for that. Carbonated waters are good too. Herbal teas are delicious, and you start to not miss sodas and sugary coffee drinks and such. So really watch those sugary beverages. The calories and sugar sneak in through there. I'll focus on immune building vitamins here in the next slide. and also show you a slide about choosing healthy options when you order or eat out, if you can eat out where you are now, because there are lots of ways that you can do that. And in fact, to me, it's easier to eat healthy when you're eating out because someone else is cooking the healthier food, so you can make some of those healthier choices. So right here are some of the most important immune boosting vitamins and minerals that you need to make sure you're getting in your diet. Yes, you can take a vitamin. Yes, you can take supplements. Try to get them from your food in addition to or instead of. It's the better source. Your body processes it in its original source easier than it does from a capsule or a pill. So it's C, E, A, and D, B6, and then zinc, selenium, folate, and iron. It's so easy to go on the internet and say which foods contain vitamin A. And then take a look at the list there, pick a few that you'll like and add it to your shopping list. Try to do that for all of those vitamins and minerals, and then shop for those. Then what you have in your fridge is going to be helping you boost that immune system. And then here's some ideas to make some healthy choices when you're eating out or ordering out or having things delivered to your home. Choose grilled or roasted meats and vegetables instead of fried. Fried foods really suck out some of the nutrients of your food. It also adds fat, often carbs, to your food. So try to get foods that are grilled or roasted, much less fat content, and still retains a lot of the nutrients. A lot of the times I go to an Italian restaurant, I'll say no pasta. Can I have double veggies instead? Or can I have a salad instead of those fries, pasta, or chips? I really try to keep my carbs down. I love fries, pasta, and chips, but I try to only have them when I'm really craving them. And in general, I love veggies too. So sometimes if it's not on your plate, you don't even think about it. If they bring a basket of chips, you know, say I'll eat 5 of them and I'll eat them really slowly and I'll eat a lot of salsa. Or if they bring breads, I'm only going to eat one bread and eat a piece of bread and eat it really slowly, especially if it's really good bread like y'all get in California. I'm assuming most of you are from California and get that good San Francisco sourdough. Get that as much out here in Arizona, which is where I am. I always like to request dressings and sauces on the side. Sometimes they drench your salad or they drench your beautiful steak in some sort of sauce that you don't really like. And then it added a lot of calories as well. So if you get it on the side, you can control how much you're using. And it's also to your own taste. Definitely try to choose whole grain and brown rice options as opposed to white rice and white pasta, which bring no nutrient value to the table. They just bring carbs and really no taste and no nutrients. So there's so many great grains out there like barley and farro, quinoa, millet, and bulgur. They're chewy and interesting and have taste to them, unlike white rice and unlike plain old pasta. I substitute now zucchini noodles for any kind of pasta. I have one of those spiralizers. And you just get the taste and feel of maybe a spaghetti, but no carbs. And that's been one of my favorite switches and one of my favorite new kitchen utensils for sure. Choose places that offer the healthy choices that you want. Chipotle, you can go to Chipotle and have a lot of healthy choices there. Any restaurant you go to, they have vegetables, they have lean meats, and I find that most of the restaurants these days are really happy to accommodate different kinds of eating styles. Choose water, carbonated water, or herbal teas as your beverage choices instead of sodas and sugary drinks as well. All right, moving along to our body and trying to decompress. And I like to call this active relaxation. If you just go ahead and veg out on the couch and chill and watch Netflix, that's good for your body too. But when I say active relaxation, I mean you're actually doing something like a meditation or something that is totally relaxing your body and you're actively involved in it, like yoga. Or some of the things I'm going to mention here. So I have a whole course actually on mindfulness in the workplace. And mindfulness is your ability to detach from the multitasking world, which we are all doing, especially if you're working at home. There's even more things that you're doing now to multitask. And mindfulness is that ability to fully focus on one thing at a time, on this present moment, whether it's a conversation, or whether it's something you're doing for fun, or whether it's relaxation, or whether it's cooking a meal. Try to focus on just one thing at a time, and then you're practicing the art of mindfulness. It's not easy to do. We're conditioned to multitask, and I know, and people have said, I feel guilty if I'm only focusing on one thing at a time. There's so much to do. And I feel guilty if I'm only focusing on myself. So many people need so much from me. I teach a lot of supervisors and managers who feel that way. And truthfully, if you want to be there for everybody else, you really have to focus some of your day on taking care of yourself, nutritionally, mindfully, and physically. So very quickly, I wanted to offer you some ideas for meditations. When I teach this class, I take everybody through a lot of these different options. Meditation, many times people feel is, you know, you got incense blowing and you're in the lotus position and your fingers are like this and it's all very spiritual and woo-woo. And that's not always what meditation is about. It's actually very approachable, and I find more people are doing it more often these days. And meditation is one way you can actively relax and really calm your body down. The five senses experience is about being outside or anywhere you are and paying attention to one sense at a time. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you smell? What do you taste? And just focusing on that. I also do mindful breathing, and you can do belly breathing where you just focused on your belly rising and lowering, or just two huge deep breaths in and out. Or 5-7-8 breathing, where you breathe in for 5 counts, you hold for 7 counts, and you exhale for 8 counts. You really do relax on the exhale, and a lot of us forget to exhale for a long time. You invigorate on the inhale, but relax on the exhale. And that's why 5-7-8 breathing is really nice, because it does focus on that longer exhale where you can relax. Traditionally, sometimes meditations are mantra focused, where you pick one word to focus on and say it over and over again. My word is grace. Grace is the name of my higher self, my smarter, calmer, less triggered self. So I like to channel the word grace, as well as I always want to handle situations and conversations with grace. So it's a word that calms me down. I have a friend who has, her word is Selah. Om is a very traditional word. So pick a word that means something to you and just focus on that word repetitively. And when your mind wanders different places, bring your attention back to that word. That's what mindfulness is. It's not that I won't think about anything else. It's that when I do, it comes in, it goes right out, and I refocus on what I've chosen to focus on. And then you get a little more involved when you do a guided visualization. Your phones now have so many different apps that the Calm app is wonderful for this. Many of them have these guided visualizations where you just relaxed on the couch or in a relaxed position, and they guide you through a very calming relaxation that calms your body from the top to your toes, or takes you to some place like this beautiful picture here, the ocean, the beach, where you can really calm down and take yourself out of your present. So very quick introduction to some different meditations, but try to find something that you like that will help you actively relax. And I love this picture. Laugh and laugh often, because laughter releases endorphins, which are the opposite of cortisol. They make you feel good. They make you feel happy and make you feel positive. So find ways to laugh and allow yourself to feel joy. I feel that sometimes right now, when everything is so hard and the world is in such a challenging place and in crisis, we feel guilty if we find moments of joy. We feel guilty if we laugh. And allow yourself those moments of joy and laughter. In fact, seek them out and find them. I love to watch YouTube videos and hang around people who make me giggle and laugh. And then this isn't actually an icebreaker I do in some of my courses when I teach. I give everybody a list of these fun tongue twisters. I used to do them with my kids when they were young, and we will just giggle and giggle and giggle. And then you hear your boys giggle or people around you giggle, and it makes you laugh too. So that's always a fun little activity that just helps everybody laugh and have a good time. So don't forget to find joy and laugh. So remember that every challenge, and we have a lot of them right now, has opportunity and silver linings. And if you can find and focus on them, it's really going to help you to be resilient and thrive through all of this change and uncertainty that we've been going through. And I wanted to leave you with this slide. I have written a cookbook. It's called Make It Healthy, and has all kinds of recipes for all kinds of eating styles in there. And it's on Amazon if you're interested. And these are some additional courses from CPSHR Consulting that I think would expand on some of the information that I've given you today. Emotional intelligence is so important and core to build this skill, and especially during times of stress and crisis. Conversation boot camps we are doing now, and creating conversations worth having and really good strategic conversations that end up with the results that you want. Resolving conflict, mindfulness. I do a lot of workplace wellness work and have a lot of different programs to help you integrate wellness into your work site. Process improvement and managing change are also really important things to have during times of stress and change. So thank you for joining us today. I think I saw some questions coming in the chat box. I'll let Angelique go ahead and read them to me. If you need to go, appreciate your time today. Please be well. I'm happy to stay on for a while and answer your questions.
Yes, thank you everybody for your participation. And thank you to Wendy for those awesome and useful and actionable tips. We do have a couple questions and comments. This one is from Jamie, and it is from your healthy eating portion. And he said, is honey okay? Because you mentioned avoiding refined sugars. And so he was wondering if honey is a good alternative.
What are you saying? Honey. Oh, honey.
Yeah.
That's been putty. I don't think that's edible. Honey is an excellent source of your sugar. It's still a sugar, but it's not a refined sugar. In fact, honey has a lot of wonderful health properties. So absolutely substitute honey for white processed sugar. I even use agave syrup that's very healthy too, mixes in really nice. So yes, the answer is 1,000 times yes on honey.
Awesome. Awesome. Michelle asked if the slides are going to be sent to the attendees. They will be uploaded on our website under the recordings portion of the website, and the recorded video will also be posted, but the slides will be there as well. Let's see, do we have any other questions? I know we had some comments in the chat. I know somebody mentioned using an air fryer as opposed to traditional frying methods. We have one of those. It's really cool.
I actually got my son one for Christmas. So on Christmas, we had barbecue Christmas at the Farrell household instead of traditional Christmas. And Brian brought ingredient, and everyone had to make something. So I'm encouraging my sons to cook, which is another thing to do as well. Start healthy cooking habits and eating habits when your kids are young. It's easier then. So Brian made 3 different wings with different rubs. The air fryer was amazing. I was really impressed with how delicious and crispy. Essentially, an air fryer is an intense convection oven. It's really spinning that hot air around, and everything is on these wire racks, so it gets crispy all around, like different from your regular oven. So they're a wonderful tool for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Joseph said daily exercise outside is very meditative for him.
Yes, so that's wonderfully an act of relaxation. I've recently taken up kayaking, and I absolutely love it. In fact, I'm going to go out this afternoon. I get on the lake. No matter what's going on, I can detach and just get into the floating of the water and how the sun feels and the light and everything. It's a great way to be outside. You also get vitamin D from being outside. It's one of the best ways to get your vitamin D, certainly from your food as well. But 15 minutes outside in the sun really does take care of that vitamin D as well. So for sure.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I think that's everything, all the questions and comments that we wanted to address. So, thank you again, everyone, for your participation, and everybody have a wonderful Friday, afternoon, and enjoy your weekend.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Be well.
Thank you.